do we have some questions for Bill? Otherwise, I'll just talk out. Anything? Yes?
Yes. Bill, are you working on any new video games that you'd like to talk about?
Well, of course, we're always working on Kingdom Hearts, and I understand there's another one coming up, but I'm always the last to know in the pipeline. It's like, literally, they'll call my agent and say, we need Bill on Wednesday, and this is Monday, and okay, what am I doing? I don't know. Just go there and see what they're doing and do it. So I'm always the last to know, exactly. Upcoming projects, what do we have here? As far as video games, I'm not sure right now. So
okay, and other perhaps TV, film, attraction?
Well, we have done a pilot for Disney Television called 7D, based on the Seven Dwarfs. And from what I understand, now we've done the pilot, and I understand it looks great, and I'm playing Doc in that. And it's a little different. It's based on the same people that did Fish Hooks. So it has that kind of look. It's kind of wacky and wild and a little bit different. And so the dwarves it's not the standard dwarves, of which I'm Sleepy of the standard dwarves. But this one I'm Doc, so that'll be a lot of fun if that comes to fruition. And like I say, it'll be last minute. They'll write the scripts. They'll say, Bill, come on in on Thursday, and I'll go do it.
Very good.
Yes.
How many people have done Goofy's voice?
I'm the second official one. Pinto Colvix originated the voice back in 1932, even though he did the voice for the company a little bit before that in like the Ant and the Grasshopper, and he was doing basically, Pinto Colvix was doing Goofy in that, and he came up with Goofy's trademark song in that, you know, oh, the world owes me a little bum, you know, and then Goofy came into existence in 1932. Pinto did the voice until I believe he passed away in the late 60s. And then it was kind of like Goofy du jour for about 20 years. It was like there really wasn't much call for the voice. There wasn't the video or television. And when that came up and Mr. Eisner came in, they decided to consolidate the 4 or 5 guys that were doing Mickey and Donald and Goofy, and they had a big audition, and out of about 1,000 people or so that tried out throughout Hollywood, I was the lucky one. And it was my first animated character audition after moving to Hollywood, so I was lucky.
So had you come up to Hollywood to do voice or do act or what?
Anything I could, really. I was a stand-up comedian impressionist, and I was doing the comedy circuit at the Chuckle Hut in Boise this week and wherever across the country, and doing all sorts of impressions, and was able to get an agent right away when I moved to Hollywood, and you know, after that, they just said, do you do any of the Disney characters? And I said, well, I can kind of do a Mickey, and oh boy, that's about all I could do. And Donald is tough. That's a tough one. I can go, but that's about it. I can't really enunciate, but gosh, Goofy was always one of my favorites as a kid. And, it kind of fit me too. I think it was typecasting. And so, you know, they like me on that, and they're still using me.
That's good. Now, how many, so you've advanced from that one, how many different voices since you've been in the Disney stable? Are you the whole stable?
No, I'm Goofy and Pluto. Pluto always kind of gets, you know, neglected, but he's one of the Fab Five, and it's actually more difficult to do Pluto than Goofy because, you know, you do that for about an hour and a half, and it's with emotion and different things, or 2-picture looping an old cartoon or whatever. That'll wear on the throat.
Bill, we went to a presentation yesterday at Voices in the Parks.
Yes.
You're now a recent member of that group with Goofy's Sky School. How does it feel being part of that?
Actually, I go way back at the Voices in the Park. Way back in the early 90s, I did the announcements for State Fair. They had a State Fair, and I was doing those as Pat Buttram, Mr. Haney, if you remember that voice, and I say, 15 minutes, go see Mickey Moo over there, you know, all that kind of stuff. And in Innoventions in Florida, there was a robot named Electronic, and he was kind of a cheesy kind of guy, and I did a lot of impressions like Christopher Lloyd and all sorts of things. And that's only, actually only, attraction or actually anything with Disney that I actually wrote the script and performed it. And I did like 40 some voices in that one, so it was a lot. So I go way back.
Way
with
back.
that. Yes.
I mean, for Goofy Sky School, I mean, what set that apart, aside being, you know, here in California? I mean,
Well, it was Goofy's first ride that was dedicated to him, and so it's about time that Goofy got a ride of his own.
I agree.
So I'm very proud of that.
We got Barnstormers.
Yeah, that down in Florida, so I guess that was very popular, and so they wanted to bring that out here.
Barnstormers changing to the Great Goofini. Have you done any voices?
Not yet, and like I say, last minute they'll get it all ready, and they'll figure out what they want me to say. I'll go and do it, and then it might be up the next week.
Besides Disney, what other voices might we have heard you do?
Oh goodness. For Disney and for other, I do a lot of ADR, background voices in, I've been in Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, Monsters Inc., Cars, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Tarzan, you know, and some of the sequels to those. For other companies, Shrek 2, Horton Hears a Who. I just did The Lorax, which is another Dr. Seuss movie. In the movie Secretariat, I am, and I want to say, I forgot who I am, I'm a racetrack announcer in that.
Jack,
So even,
wasn't his name Jack?
Jack Whitaker, that's correct. I was filling in because the track that they had of the original Jack Whitaker was kind of garbled or something, so I relooped him. So I've done a lot of movies through the years, those kind of things.
Well, you also,
And oh yeah, on Warner Brothers, I've done Bugs and Daffy and Foghorn and Sylvester over in different projects. So yeah, I get around as much as I can.
and you're also a member of Fred Willard's comedy sketch troupe.
Yes, I am, the Mohos. And so Fred, of course, is, it's always good to be on stage to keep your acting chops, you know, current, and nothing like performing in front of a live audience. It was the best training I ever went through when I did stand-up, because there's no pity laughter. You're either funny or you ain't, and a crowd will let you know real quick. So that was the trenches in those days, so.
At what point did you realize that maybe you had a gift for doing different voices?
I was a very lonely, strange child in Kansas growing up, and I was nuts for movies. I was, you know, in the theater, we had one theater, and so all summer long we'd go, you know, double feature, and they'd show the Three Stooges and cartoons. And I just picked up the voices when I was a kid, and I think early ones that I did were like Don Adams, I'll Get Smart, which was one that I started off with, and of course a lot of Western characters like Mr. Haney and John Wayne and Johnny Stewart and Willard and them sort of voices as well. So I just kind of picked up this, and my friends were always, you know, driving through Burger King, order something in a weird voice. And I'd like a Whopper with cheese, you know, and they'd look out, and my friends would laugh, and so it kind of turned into a career after that.
I was going to ask if you had any funny stories of doing the Goofy voice, like for kids, like.
Oh yeah. Well, occasionally I'll talk on phone with kids for like Make-A-Wish Foundation, Famous Phone Friends, things like. That's when the magic comes alive, because they can't see me, and people always introduce me as, "This is Bill Farmer. He's Goofy." And you know, sometimes they'll say, "They're saying that right in front of his wife." You know? And but on the phone, when I'm talking to a sick kid who really wants to talk to Mickey or to Pluto or Goofy, you know, that's when the magic comes alive. And just they're always real quiet, and a lot of times I have to do all the talking. They're either too sick to respond or like that. But we always get letters later on from their moms and dads saying that, you know, after that they couldn't stop talking about it for like 3 weeks. So it's very gratifying.
Any other voice thoughts? Anything you'd like to do that you haven't done?
Gosh.
Too broad?
I was very fortunately maybe a Disney legend a couple of years ago, and going to the Legends, that was a surreal, you know, event for me, because, you know, I'm looking down, there's Robin Williams and Betty White and all of this, and I don't really remember it. It's like in a fog. It was like ethereal. It was like surreal. And so yesterday was a big thrill, because I got to see the whole thing from the audience perspective, and it was just great and enjoyable.
Let's see, let me just get back to the voice a little bit. How I remember hearing Phil Hartman years ago talk about doing voices, and he would do sort of the same voice in a high register, medium register, low register, but it was 3 voices. How analytical do you get? Do you break it down in your
Oh,
head?
absolutely. And there's a couple of stories that come to mind. We've done the Kingdom Hearts series. And so I have to do, a lot of people always ask, well, what do they do? Do I speak in foreign languages? And I really don't. So Disney has a division that translates everything into about 42, 43 different languages. And so I was doing Kingdom Hearts, which was originally recorded in Japan. So I'm hearing the Japanese Goofy, which to my ear is very strange. It's like, ooh, you know, he's doing all of the scoops and dips that Goofy does, but in another language. And many years ago, for Disney character voices, we recorded how we do the voice and, you know, how to do the laugh and stuff. And I could hear the Japanese Goofy, and the actor, he had broken it down so methodically. Instead of, it was like, and it was very kind of robotic, but it's, I never thought of doing it that. That's a wonderful way of breaking it down. But yeah, you take a voice, and to do a voice, you have to you know, break it down into like one saying that they're famous. Like you take any of the presidents, you know, Clinton, I feel your pain, you know, that kind of thing. You gotta just and do that over and over and just record it, and until you can do it pretty good, and then you branch out and do all those other voices as well. And, you know, Reagan, you gotta, well, as a matter of fact, it's, let's go, you know, things like that. So you can just build upon those 1 or 2 word sentences and then develop a whole character.
I remember talking to Corey Burton a few years ago, and he had talked about he was so excited when, what was the name of the underground film? I'm totally blanking on it now. He actually had a character, because he had done so much character recreation.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that. And he was so excited to have his own voice. He was the whole,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and that was great. So, would you like, and obviously you're patterning a lot of these things, but what would you do if you had to create a voice of your own?
Oh, I've done a lot of voices of my own. Actually, for the 7D, I got to kind of create what Doc would sound like. They didn't want to go with the traditional voices, and so I kind of gave him a little older voice, and well, he's kind of the smart one, so he kind of talks a little bit in a more of a clip fashion, and all right, guys, let's all do this together. And so I got to create that voice based on the characteristics and the picture that they had of what would he be. He's the oldest brother, so I gave him a little more age, and you take those characteristics and you can add those to the character until it just feels right, and then go with it, and they like that.
Any other questions here? Yeah.
What is it like working with the other characters, such as Brett Iwan?
Brett is great, and of course he had some really big shoes to fill with the passing of Wayne Allwine, who is a great friend. And unlike any other studio, Disney is like, it really is a family. We've all gotten so close, and Wayne and Russi were such great friends. Wayne gave me this shirt, as a matter of fact, one day. Just kind of came in, I saw this, thought of you, and gave it to you. And so Brett is great, and he's a little tentative now because he's you know, like, gosh, this is all new and big, but he's great at the voice and better every time I hear him. And unfortunately, when we record today, it's generally solo. When I do like when we would do early episodes of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or Goof Troop, we did all ensemble. Now it's easier for the editors to pick, you know, let's say I do a line 5 times. They take the best take, the best 5, you know, the best of 5 takes that Russi does, the best of 5 takes that Brett does, add them together, and it sounds flawless. It's the best take of everyone. If you record everyone together, then what if I don't have my best take, but he does? But they're mixed in, you can't unmix them, so it's easier for the editors to do it that way. So I really miss the spontaneousness of, you know, and we could play off of each other. They also separated us, I think, because we started laughing, and we'd cut each other up, and then they'd say, okay, we're on the clock, and, you know, quit goofing off, and, you know, so, but it's so much fun when we get a chance to do that.
In the back, yes, Mark.
In your Goofy voice, answer the following question.
Yes.
What is the speed of an unladen sparrow?
The speed of an unladen sparrow is just about as fast as when it's laden, but not as fast. If that makes any sense. There is a Goofy curse. Did you know that? Things happened to me and I blame it on Goofy, yeah. Like I was hanging up some Christmas lights. I stepped backwards off the ladder right into the rose bush and just, you know, and those kind of things happen way too frequently anymore.
Do you do the Goofy scream as well?
I do when I fall into rose bushes.
Maybe you can clear this up. I heard it because Pinto Colvig left the Disney studio at one point, and that's when they did the how-to film.
Yes.
And because they didn't have the voice anymore, and so
Right.
they went to a silent Goofy for a while. Is that true?
Exactly, yeah. As I understand, he went with the Max Fleischer
He went
studios.
Fleischer, yeah.
And I don't know what the fight was about, but he did leave, and so they used very sparingly from the library that he had, you know, made over the years of words that had been used in earlier cartoons. Or they did go to the, you know, the beauty of skiing in the Alps, and you know, and so he was pretty well silenced except for an occasional laugh or yell. And we got to do one. The last thing we did theatrically was how to install your home theater, which
That was
came out
wonderful.
Yeah, and I would love them to do more, and maybe they will. I would love it if they would.
Would you guys love that?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Any other questions while we have Bill here? Yes.
Bill, have you done any looping sessions for the recutting of those classic Goofy shorts for Have a Laugh?
Yes, and that's difficult because they'll bring out the old original microphones, the RCA 20s or 44s and stuff like that, the old big boxy ones, the ribbon microphones, to get that old sound. And so, and also I have to kind of do a different Goofy because Pinto's Goofy was much more swallowed. It was like, oh, the world owes me a little. But for television, I have to articulate more, so I can, oh, the world owes me a little, to bring it up a little closer in the front of the mouth, articulate the words a little bit better so they can be understood. So I get to go back to what I call a sloppier goof, and the way he was originally conceived. So it's fun to recreate those old ones.
Great. Any final questions? Bill, do you have a question for yourself?
Yes, Bill. When are you going to get more famous? No, no, it's been great. People always say, what's the best thing about being Goofy? And I think it's that he's famous and I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have any worries by going to the store and by, you know, sweats or unkempt hair or anything like that. Whereas I have no trouble with paparazzi, none whatsoever, which really is nice.
Well, we had the unkempt hair just earlier, but you
Yes, I got that taken care of right here.
I made it count. You might tell them though about the when you went to the opening of or the premiere party for Kingdom Hearts. And
What was the premiere party like for Kingdom
Oh, that
Hearts?
was, okay, well, that was interesting because they had that at the Pacific Design Center, a big party, and they had a lot of celebrities on that. Haley Joel Osment and a lot of the younger actors were in that. So they had the red carpet out front. So they're all, you know, flashing all the pictures and everything. I come in, I walk right across the red carpet, not a single picture was taken. They get to the end, some of the people from Disney, oh, no, go back around and go it again. This is the star of the movie. This is Bill Farmer, he's Goofy. Oh, okay. So they go back and then they ask questions. It's nice being unknown, though. I like that.
That is funny. Well, great. Well, Bill, thanks for coming out
Oh,
today.
my
Appreciate your
pleasure.
time. And since you're not afraid of paparazzi,
Yours.